Hey, this is John from Alloy 211. Today I'll be shooting 147 grain silver tip Hungarian light ball 7.62 by 54R at mild steel. And I'll also be shooting 148 grain Tulammo full metal jacket at the same piece of steel. And then we'll compare the penetration on both. So anyway, try to hit it here with the first shot. Maybe, maybe not. That certainly looks like I hit it. I'll go stop this real quick and I'll go reset. Okay, well that was a success. That was the Hungarian silver tip. Oh, you can't see it too close. Let's go wide for a second. Hungarian silver tip right here. Now we're going to be firing the Tulammo 148 grain full metal jacket. Hopefully I can hit it that easily with this. And hopefully I don't hit where I already shot it. I'm going to have to try to aim lower and not hit the dirt. Well, I hit it. But till we go down there we won't know where. So, I'll be back. Well, it was a great success. As you can see, two easily measurable shots. When we get it home, I actually do some measurements and see what they are. This is the 148 grain, and this is the silver tip. So, I guess we'll see how it turns out. I'm going to shoot a couple more rounds just into that AR 400 target, just to see how it reacts. That one. Two more. Oh, something ran. Let's go in tight on it now. Maybe. Got just the camera. There we go. Now I gotta tighten things down. Get a little vibration in there. That should be good for two shots. These are both silver tips. Missed that one somehow. Either way, I'm pretty happy with it. We'll see what it looks like when we get home. Hey, this is John back at the house with the comparison between the 7.62 by 54R silver tipped 147 grain Hungarian round to the modern production 148 grain Tulammo full metal jacket. Before we get too far into the technical aspects of this with depths and diameters and such, let's go over the round a little bit itself. I know some of you out there will be well informed of what this round is, and some of you may not be. And as with any of my videos, I do as much research as I can before I make it, but there can always be holes in my research, and if you find some, go ahead and comment below and, you know, help it be a little more accurate than maybe what it was to begin with. I appreciate it, I really do. Anyway, the cartridge was first introduced in 1891. It's the longest serving military rifle cartridge in the world. It is originally designated the 3-line cartridge in 1891. It's one of the few bottlenecked, rimmed, as you can see, rimmed cartridges still in common use today. It was originally issued with a 210 grain bullet. It's a round nose full metal jacket bullet. But due to experiences during the Russo-Japanese War, they changed it to a Spitzer style 147 grain bullet, and this is the design that has basically held through till today. This particular round is a Hungarian 147 grain light ball, which means it's a steel core, lead, copper jacketed bullet, whereas the Tulammo is a lead core with a thin steel veneer encasing the lead core with copper over the steel, although recently they've moved to zinc over the steel. This is an older round. So when I say older, I don't mean older, it's like maybe a couple years old, opposed to this, which I believe was made in the 70s, from the head stamp, which I'll go ahead and try to show you that now, best I can. I love it when I shine the light in my eyes, it makes me feel so blind. Anyway, there, 76, 21, 76, so there you go. And here are actually the casings that I fired, the Tulammo, get that into frame and light, Tulammo, and the Hungarian round. Hungarian round, there you go. Yay! Anyway, let's get into the more technical aspects of what this did. And what I found really interesting was how different these were, given the relative similarity in bullet weight, because this is 148 and that's 147 grain. So it's really interesting how different they actually even just look visually, as the 148 grain is definitely blown out more and the 147 grain is definitely narrower. Start with the 148 grain. The total splash height is 0.287 off the surface of the plate, with a total depth of 0.513 inches. And so it's just slightly under 5/16 of an inch splash up from the plate, and just slightly more than half of an inch in penetration below the splash. Below the surface of the plate, the penetration is 0.246, so about 1/4 of an inch. Now the diameter of the splash from the outside kind of petals, let's call it that, is about 7/8 of an inch or so. Let's see if you can see that. Yeah, I think you can see that. And that's in inches, and there's the metric for you guys, for anyone that is in the metric system. The diameter of the splash where it's most concentric, because that's where I tried to take the measurement above the plate, you know, where it's, you know, the closest to an actual circle, so that way it's relatively accurate, or a relative average of it. At the splash is 0.592, so just below 5/8 of an inch. And then at the surface of the plate, just below that, it is 0.586. And on both of these rounds, they exhibit a cavity below that that's actually blown out further, but I don't really have a good way to get down in there and measure it. I would say on the 148 grain, it's not quite as deep as it is on the 147, but we'll kind of get to that in a minute. So the hole itself, the crater itself, tapers as it goes down. Anyway, let's go on to the 147 grain, and let's go with the depth first, because that's how I did it with the other one. The splash is, that's good, you can hear me directing myself as I'm doing the video. The splash height off of the plate is 0.235. Oh, actually no, I had to average this one a little differently because it's definitely got a bit of an incline to it. The average splash height is 0.18. 0.18, yeah, that was no, 0.218, with a penetration of 0.491 from the splash down to the bottom. And below the surface penetration is 0.273, which is just slightly more than this. But it is definitely a lot narrower when you look at it. The overall outer splash distance is about 3/4 of an inch. There it is for my metric audience. And then just at the concentric area of the splash, it's 0.550 in diameter. And then just at the surface of the plate, it is 0.53. So they both narrow. This narrows slightly more than this one. As you can see, this, obviously, as you can see, this is quite a bit smaller overall than this. And I would estimate really where this is blown out, and I'll go ahead and pick this up and see if I can show you guys a little better. This cavity on both of these, let me grab a pointing instrument. There's the sock I use to keep the gun from getting scratched up. As you can see, there's quite a bit, maybe you can see, there you go. There's quite a bit of an undercut under the surface of that, and that's present on both of them. So that would say to me that, as it hits and it expands, it pushes material up and out of its way. I also found it interesting how the bottom of this hole, get this back up here, actually is kind of pitted, and the surface of it just looks different, and you can kind of see a singular indentation right in that area. And that makes me wonder if that's from the steel core, the mild steel core. But on the 148 grain Tula, that almost just looks like lead, like if you'd smacked it, shot a thick piece of lead, say like on tough later mouse. So it's kind of interesting, just the difference in the way the surface appears at the bottom of the hole. Anyway, overall, the 147 grain did penetrate slightly more, but it made a narrower crater, whereas the 148 grain didn't penetrate quite as much, but it made a much bigger cavity overall. Now, the difference in penetration is, what is it there, 3/100ths of an inch, which is like, it's very little, so it's hard to draw a conclusion as to what real difference it makes, but obviously there's different performance characteristics between these two, at least into a medium of mild 1-inch carbon steel. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully the shooting part turned out decent. So if you liked the video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you watch some of my other videos and you like those too, go ahead and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And again, if you have any other information or I have information that I'm missing, go ahead and comment below and let me know. Thanks, I appreciate you watching. Bye.